हेनो प्रभु कोठा गेला आचार्य ठाकुर मोरा स्वरूप रूप कहाँ दास रघुनाथ पतित पावन कहाँ दास रघुनाथ पतित पावन कहाँ मोर भट्ट जुग कहाँ कविराज एक काले कोठा गेला गोरा नटराज एक काले कोठा गेला गोरा नटराज पाषाणे कोटी वो माठ अनले पाशिवो गौरांगा गुनेरा निधि कोठा गेले पावो गौरांग गुनेरा निधि कोठा गेला पावो सब संगीरा संग न पाया कने Sheshangana Bhaya Kane Narottamana Jayanilo Premadana Karuna Prachur Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaur Hari Bol.
Srila Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna, that today yet another very auspicious day, the disappearance day of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, one of the youngest of the 6 Goswamis, who also, like Rupa and Sanatan, hailed from South India. Aha! Whose phone was that? This is Maninder. Aya! So let us hear a little bit about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. A little less is known about him in the sense that it is said that when the Chaitanya Charitamrita was being compiled, where we find so much information about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya's associates, at that time Gopal Bhatta Goswami requested Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami not to mention him. Out of humility, he was someone who was assigned to Rupa and Sanatan by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So he was very much concerned to always see Rupa and Sanatan glorified and not his own self. So he is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but no pastimes, no. We find information about Gopal Bhatta Goswami, notably in the Bhakti Ratnakar. He was born in Sri Rangam, which we know is the capital of the followers of Ramanujacharya. So he was born in a family that worshipped Lakshmi Narayana. And we know very well that this is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stopped when he was on his tour South India. He stopped for the month of Chaturmasya, right at this time. He was in the house of a Brahmin just next to the temple of Ranganath Swami. The name of that Brahmin was Vyankat Bhatt. And there were actually 3 brothers, Tirumala, Vyankat, and one who we know is Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. So, and this little boy at that time was 7 years old, who would become Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And naturally, as Mahaprabhu was in his house, he served him. The whole time when he was there, he was bringing him his thali. He was, moving around, bringing water, bringing this, that. So he was engaged in the service of Mahaprabhu, and he became very, very attached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And even though he was so young, he was naturally a very enlightened and intelligent person. So even though he was very small, he was listening, and in the home there were lots of philosophical discussions. And as we know very particularly, because his family, they were worshippers of Lakshmi Narayan, which means devotional service in Aishwarya Bhav. If you have been to South India, you know what that means. The worship in Aishwarya Bhav, very, very much focused on offering very grand artis and worshipping the deities with lots of gold and lots of valuable things, and in the mood of being their servant, being the servant of Lord Narayana. But the worship of Krishna, as propounded by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the worship in intimacy, in which Srila Prabhupada actually told us in his samples, don't use gold for the deities, otherwise it will attract thieves more than devotees. The deity should look very beautiful to attract the devotees, but if you put gold, you will attract devotees who are thieves also. So we see in our ISKCON centers that we do try to, the deities are worshipped in a very opulent way, but not in that way that we will offer diamonds and gold, although they do get, we know, that they have, nice things which they wear secretly, like ankle bells. So they do have, but the mood is different. We worship Krishna in the mood of intimacy, very close love for the Lord. So Mahaprabhu defeated Vyankat Bhatt and his brothers on this platform that he discussed that Lakshmi herself wishes to enter the Rasanas. Why? So we won't go in deep into that discussion, but the Gopal Bhatta heard so many philosophical discussions when he was there, and he retained that. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was about to leave, it is said that his father, Vyankat Bhatt, actually fainted. All of them became so attached to Mahaprabhu. And the young Gopal Bhatta was Gopal, that was his name, Gopal Bhatta. He was crying. He was crying like unstoppable tears in separation. So Mahaprabhu agreed to remain for a few more days. And so the whole family was happy. And during those days, he actually granted a spiritual dream to Gopal Bhatta, which was more like a spiritual vision. What the boy saw is that first of all, he saw Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip. Not in his sannyas vesh, but in Navadvip, with his long hair and his chanting in the streets of Navadvip. And it felt like him, it was a spiritual vision, and he felt drawn into that dream, and he felt like he was himself present there and participating in the pastimes. And as we know, in the spiritual world, there is a part of Golok, which is Navadvip, manifesting the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. So that was very wonderful for him. And besides that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed himself as non-different from Sri Shyam Sundar. So then he understood that Mahaprabhu is actually the Supreme Person, and know that Mahaprabhu did not reveal this to many people because he is the Channa avatar, right? The hidden avatar. And he used to present himself as a devotee of the Lord. When Rupa Goswami praised him in Puri, as his own Ishtadev, and as the Supreme Lord himself, it owed him a slap. And Mahaprabhu displayed anger towards Rupa. What are you saying? You're spoiling everything. So he did not like to be actually revealed as a Supreme Lord. But he did reveal his identity to Gopal Bhatta. And all what happened in Sri Rangam was to fix Gopal Bhatta in service to Lord Chaitanya, so that later on, when he grows up, he becomes one of the main followers of Mahaprabhu and become one of the main instruments in establishing the mission of Mahaprabhu. So naturally, he wanted to follow him. He wanted to follow Lord Chaitanya when he finally departed. But Mahaprabhu told him that, no, you're very young. And he instructed him to stay at home until his parents pass away. But still, he was able to leave home quite young. He was one of the youngest of the 6 Goswamis. And he did eventually rejoin the Rupa and Sanatan in Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu had told him that when you go to Vrindavan, you must take shelter of Rupa and Sanatan and just serve them. So that was his heart, going to Vrindavan and serving Sanatan and Rupa. That was his life. And this is how he lived. And he was, as soon as he arrived, he was very much welcomed in the association of the Goswamis and all their assistants and followers there. one reason was that if he had been living in the Grihastha ashram all this time, meaning at the house of his parents, but as soon as he arrived in Vrindavan, he just discarded any outwardly opulence or attachments, and immediately took up the same lifestyle as Rupa and Sanatan. Living simply, we can see the pictures on the altar. They are all just wearing just a loincloth. In the winter, in the summer, just sleeping under trees. In fact, Mahaprabhu would send him an instruction: don't be attached to any comfort and don't be attached to any residence. These are some instructions that he received and that he took very seriously. And like the other Goswamis, he would just spend, nights under the trees. And they never bothered, the Goswamis, to actually build anything for themselves. Sometimes the local people or some of their followers, they built some huts or something for them. But otherwise, on their own, they were not into that. They were simply happy sleeping on the Brajraj and drinking the water of the Yamuna and living on Madhukari. So he adopted the life of a Vaishnava renunciate as soon as he arrived in Vrindavan. Now it is interesting to know that Mahaprabhu was thinking about him. Lucky, wasn't he? Mahaprabhu was remembering him and wondering, after some years passed, he was wondering, did this boy, leave home? And did he actually go to Vrindavan? And he had heard some kind of rumor, but he wanted to verify. So he sent a letter to Rupa and Sanatan and asking the whereabouts. Did you get a boy from South India, from Sri Rangam? Gopal, his name is Gopal. Did you get him? So he got a reply that yes, he is very much here. He is very much here, and he is the beloved of everyone in Vrindavan, because he has a very beautiful, wonderful nature. He is very cultured, and he's very humble, and he's very beautiful looking, and like that. So, and he's very learned. That was one thing with him. He was very learned. In South India, he had the opportunity of learning, especially his uncle, Prabhupada Saraswati, was a learned person. So he learned from him, and from him he had also learned poetry. Because Prabhupada Saraswati was, what is it called? Run to Vrindavan. Would write beautifully. He was also a master in Sanskrit grammar, in Vedanta. So he had learned very nicely. And he contributed a lot in Vrindavan to the writings of the senior Goswamis. He acted as an assistant, as a researcher. And he himself knew so many shastras, because in South India, many books were available. So he had read and he knew so many books. He contributed to building the library of books in Vrindavan. As we know, he was very much involved with working with Sanatan Goswami, but he was also involved with Rupa Goswami. He assisted both of them. We always hear of his, some of the main things, some of his main contributions, because he was born in that Vaishnava environment in South India. So he actually wrote many things regarding various procedures for puja and procedures for the sanskaras. So we know some of them, the Sat Kriya Deepika. He wrote, these are all instructions how to, as Vaishnavas, perform the sanskaras without involving the demigods worship and all that. And these are all the Vaishnava worship, Vaishnava methods of worship. So he wrote instructions for grihasthas about how all the different sanskaras, not just vivaha, but also all the sanskaras that one goes through from the time of birth and so on. for the children, how to grow the children up. He wrote a lot about Vaishnava etiquette. We know about the Hari Bhakti Vilas, always we hear. He is, as far as people understand, mostly he's a co-author with Sanatan Goswami of this Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is very useful for the Vaishnavas. It was written as a training manual, actually, for the Vaishnavas, and especially the Vaishnavas who do not come from Brahminical culture or from Brahminical families. Those who come from Brahminical families, from birth, they are trained in many different things, including cleanliness. But those who take birth in other families, they may not have this opportunity. And as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was bestowing the Mahamantra upon everyone, and as in the future, this movement would be recruiting members from all cultures, from all over the world, including the Mlechas, the Chandalas, everyone who have no idea about any etiquettes, any Vaishnav behavior, and the simplest things of how to live one's life. So for them, he wrote this Hari Bhakti Vilas. At the same time, we know that Srila Prabhupada also said that this Hari Bhakti Vilas is also meant to show the Brahmanas who are caste Brahmins that Vaishnavas know these things. And not that we actually have to follow everything which is in there, because some of the things which are there, not that they are bad, but some of them are difficult to apply. They are difficult to apply everywhere all over the world due to the variety of climates and the variety of cultures, the availability of the paraphernalia and all these things. And also because the essence for Gaudiya Vaishnavas is the chanting of the holy name. It is not the rituals, and it's not all these procedures. We learn them, of course, but as we know in this age, it is only the chanting of the holy name which can be faultless and which can take us to the highest destination, the Bhagavad Vidhi prominently. And we also follow the Archana Vidhi, so that we become fixed in the form of the Lord, in the understanding of this concept of the personality of the Lord. So we naturally worship the deity. But there are many, many rules and regulations which are in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which, Prabhupada did have to adjust when he traveled around the world. Including some of the ingredients for cooking that are not available in some countries, or there are things which are only available which are not in the book because they are not actually part of Vaishnav recipes. Like when you go to Jagannath Puri or you go to Sri Rangam, you go to Kanchi in South India, if you eat Mahaprasadam, you will find that it only has certain vegetables in them. In the Mahaprasadam. They don't use all the vegetables. They don't use all the vegetables which are on the market. They use only indigenous things which have been for centuries and centuries and millenniums growing in this area at the south of the Himalayas. They won't use certain other things, like potatoes, for example. You will never find them in the Mahaprasadam of Lakshmi Narayana. You won't find it. It's not there. However, when Prabhupada established the deity worship all over the world, then you'll find in some countries that potatoes are the only thing that grows. So what to do? So we make sabji from potatoes. In fact, ISKCON is famous for potato sabji. So Gopal Bhatta contributed in this way, doing a lot of research, because as you know, the Goswamis, they were requested by Mahaprabhu, Rupa and Sanatan to present the science of bhakti with reference to the Shastra. So Gopal Bhatta was well versed and he helped a lot, finding references, compiling. He also wrote a very scholarly introduction to the Satsandarbhas of Srila Jiva Goswami. So he was engaged mostly in assisting the Goswamis in their writings. And like them, he roamed about Braj, he chanted, he did some parikramas, and he lived a very, 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 very simple life. He is very famous, of course, as the person who brought about the manifestation of Sri Radharaman. All the Goswamis had their own deities gradually. Rupa found Govinda under the ground, actually. He found Govinda, and Madan Mohan was also rescued by Sanatan Goswami from Mathura, like that. And so Gopal Bhatta, he also was a worshipper. But what had happened to him is that somehow he had chosen, because being from South India, he had chosen to worship Shalagram. And South India, Brahmins all over, not just South India, they worship Shalagram. So at some point he had gone at great endeavor, actually, no bus, no train, no plane, no road. He had gone to the Kaligandaki, which is in Nepal. We know, right? Nepalis, they know the Kaligandaki. So imagine if you had to go there when there is no roads. Starting from Vrindavan, it's only jungle. You walk through the jungle, then you reach the Himalayas, and somehow you have a precarious map given by someone who says, when you see the sun rising there, you should walk this way, something like that. And then, how to find the rivers and talk to the local people, understand, then follow this river, this, that, until you reach the Kaligandaki. So he had gone like that, and he had picked shilas from the river itself, beautiful shilas, 12 of them. And then he returned to Vrindavan. But then upon returning to Vrindavan, somehow he was a very humble person, and he had a little crisis. And he found himself unqualified to worship these Shalagram shilas. So he again departed and again went to the Kaligandaki. And his idea was, I'll just return them, because I'm not qualified to do that. So he put the shalagrams in the water. It is said that he was chanting mantras, everything, because he was like South Indian Brahmana. So he was chanting mantras, putting back, asking for forgiveness, putting back the shilas in the water. And as he put back the shilas, they would jump back into the bag. They would come back on him. And this was like some kind of, out of the ordinary thing. Stones don't move on their own. So it was magical. It was a miracle. So he could not do anything but accept them. He understood that, somehow the Lord, I'm thinking wrongly. I have to accept them. So he took them back, and again, and he started worshipping them, and which went very well but he was feeling some lack, because gradually all the other Goswamis established their own temples, deities, and he would watch the opulent deity. They would offer dresses to the deities and flutes and ornaments and garlands and all that, and he had these shilas and the shilas, how much you will offer. So you can offer a small mala. And usually the traditional worship of Shalagram does not include offering like Shringar so much. Rather, they are worshipped by bathing, by chanting mantras and offering arti, the Salopachaar. So he was feeling that he wanted more reciprocation. He wanted to offer more service. He wanted to have more interaction with the Lord. So he was feeling a little sad that, everybody else got such nice forms of the Lord to worship, and look what I got. And not exactly in these words, but he was like, I want to worship more. And so as he was expressing this to the Lord, then miraculously, so his life is full of these miracles in relationship to the Lord. And that's what revealed him as a self-realized, fully accomplished devotee. Because for whom does the Lord manifest? And especially in this way, that one morning he came back, to his Shilas, just next to where the Radharaman temple is currently located there. And he came there and he saw that one of the Shilas had transformed into a beautiful deity of about 12 inches tall, which is quite a good size, but still quite small compared to the other deities. And he was like, and obviously he was totally moved in ecstasy. And tears flowed from his eyes. He fell on the ground, offered obeisances, called everyone, look, look, look. And it was not just so this was self-manifested. Radharaman is considered Sri Radha Raman Dev. He named the deity. And it was not just any deity. The features were very, very specific. The eyes were fully designed, the mouth, little teeth visible, lines in the hands. It was an amazing deity. And so he began to worship Sri Radharaman. Radharaman, of course, was just Krishna, no deity of Srimati Radharani. Later on, they introduced the worship of Srimati Radharani's crown, because, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we worship Radha and Krishna together as it is. There are many temples in India where you will find Krishna alone, Narayan, Vishnu, there alone, like in Tirupati, you'll find the Lord alone. But usually, the Vaishnavas, they worship the Lord and his consorts, Sita, Ram, and Lakshmi, Narayana, Radha, Krishna, so like that. But the Lord, when he manifests, usually it's rare to see that he manifests both the forms, not even aware, and usually Krishna manifests like that. So he was so fortunate, and we understand that he is such a great soul, that the Lord manifested for him. And like the other Goswamis, he is understood to be a Manjari who has descended from the spiritual world. Somehow there is always different names attributed to the Goswamis in terms of their Siddha Deha. He said he is Guna Manjari. Sometimes some say he's Ananga Manjari. As we heard, Sanatan also sometimes said to be Ananga Manjari or Rati. So in any case, he is a resident of the spiritual world who specifically descended in this world to propagate the mission of Lord Chaitanya, the chanting of the holy name and the science of Krishna Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, in the spirit of the Brijbasis of Vrindavan. And he was very much in the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu sent a letter to Rupa and Sanatan through messengers to know whether this boy had arrived. And when he got the answer and he heard that the boy has actually arrived, he sent, as he would do sometimes, he would always send a gift, which was some Mahaprasadam from himself. So he did send a piece of cloth to Gopal Bhatta, and it says he also sent a seat, kind of an asana, a wooden asana that he had been using. And these items we are found in the Radharaman temple. They are worshipped. So these are some things about Gopal Bhatta. Very wonderful person, and very powerful also in the sense that he managed to ensure a disciplic succession There's a disciplic succession coming from Gopal Bhatta, and also he ensured that the worship in the temple would continue until today. When the devotees came to Vrindavan with Prabhupada, and when Prabhupada was to establish the worship in Sri Krishna Balaram temple, he told the devotees to go to Radharaman temple and to learn from there, because all the worship procedures and all were established by Gopal Bhatta. And so the devotees went and they learned how to perform arti, and because in all so many of the other temples, the worship was not performed very properly. And I remember myself, I came to Vrindavan in 1981, which was a short time after Prabhupada's departure. So it was very close to the time when Prabhupada's disciples were here. And I remember visiting the temples, and it was so shabby looking. The temples were dilapidated, and the deities were under dust. They were wearing rags, hardly any jewelry. I mean, as somebody I was not a devotee, I was visiting Vrindavan by Krishna's grace, and I was wondering, it sounded bizarre, and then people were paying obeisances to deities in rags. And everything looked poor, very poor. Vrindavan was very poor. And the temples were very poor also, And but in the Radharaman temple, which I don't know, I don't remember visiting at that time, but the worship never went down. The Radharaman temple was one place where the worship was maintained by the power of this disciplic succession of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, as we know. First of all, Radharaman is one of the rare deities, original deities that stayed in Vrindavan. The others were moved to Rajasthan to be protected. They were from the Muslim invasions and the destruction of all the temples. But it is said that Radharaman, somehow they did not take him away. And one of the reasons why Radharaman was not harmed by the invaders is that the temple doesn't look like a temple. And even Radha Damodar is like that. It doesn't look like a temple. So they completely destroyed Radha Govinda temple because that was a temple. And they destroyed the Madam Mohan temple because they were obviously, too much glorious. But Radharaman was not obvious at all. They thought it's a rich man's house. So indeed, very rich man's house. So they left him alone, and the worship continued uninterruptedly. In fact, they say that the fire in the Radharaman temple is the fire that was lit by Gopal Bhatta. And this is a tradition. In many places, you will find fires that have been burning for thousands of years in some places. So this fire was lit by Gopal Bhatta. And this is the art of the Brahmins, to never let the fire go off, So it keeps going century after century. Hari Hari Bol, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki jai. So we offer our prayers and obeisances to him, and we'll offer him some beautiful roses from Vrindavan. And we pray to Gopal Bhatta that he gives us intelligence and determination in our study, and that he may bestow upon us attraction to the Brahminical lifestyle. And some prema bhakti as well. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So please come and offer the flowers. You sing, Jali Maha. Sing a little bit. Please get up. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.